Hi. So, I'm actually hands-free. I'm really excited, let me tell you. Does a little dance. I finally got the stand for my camera, so now I get to do this hands-free. I don't have to worry about the shaking of the camera, and I actually get to use my hands. I'm Irish. We like to work with our hands. That's also an Italian thing, so I hear, but whatever. We'll just go with it. Anyway, I also wanted to say welcome to any of my classmates who are watching this. I'm glad that you decided to follow along. I know it's probably for school, but whatever. Anyway, to those who don't know, my website is actually able to be used to get a college credit in a class called Exploring the Internet. So you might get some comments on there from my classmates. So I'm forewarning you, this is me forewarning you that there will be other comments and stuff, and you might actually see a little bit of a change in my blog because I'll have to also make it so that it also works for my college credit. So if you have any questions or concerns, let me know. Anyway, so for this week I have decided, okay, I suck at following up on things. I'm really busy. I'm taking 4 classes. I work full-time. I'm a full-time college student. All my classes are online, so I'm really, really busy. Plus, I have a dog who likes to go for a walk 2-3 times a day. So I have decided, as a way to help me keep going with my blog and keep going with my web journal, that once a week for my web journal, my live journal, I would answer a question. I will pick the most popular question or the one that is more interesting. And so this week I got a very, well, it's probably the most popular question I've gotten, which is, what is my book about? I actually have a friend of mine. His name is Robert Togus. He actually sent me a comment via my email. I've also gotten a whole bunch of comments on Facebook and Twitter, and a lot of people have just been asking me what my book is about. So I'll read you what he said specifically. By the way, he is also an author. He specifically does wildlife. If you're interested in anything, he actually has the Quest for the Eastern Cougar. I can get it on Amazon or bn.com. So anyway, Robert writes, I can remember meeting you and talking about our mutual interests, such as writing. You just don't forget the name London Frost. I see you've been busy creating and living your dreams. Tell me about your book. I have to say I've been a little nervous about explaining what my book is about because of copywriting, and I'm really afraid somebody's going to take the idea and roll with it, but I'm going to hope that you guys are going to be gentle and be nice and to understand that this is actually my private work and it's something that I'm actually trying to get published. If you see me looking back and forth, it's because I actually wrote what I was going to say. I'm awful. My brain is going 1,000 miles a minute. My imagination is just off the charts. So I tend to kind of go off topic sometimes, so I wrote this down as a way to hopefully keep me in line. So like I said, if you see me looking away a lot, it's because I'm trying to find my place. So a little bit more about the book. I wrote the book in first person, not just first person where it follows Jane, but it also follows Sean, and later it will follow Reed. You're probably asking why I decided to follow 3 characters. My big reason for that is I've read a lot of stories that are first person, and literally it just follows one person, and some of the time the person that it's following is not that interesting to me. I mean, the book is interesting, the story is interesting, the plot, the concepts, all of it, and I love all of that, so I'm willing just to finish reading it, but some of the times I don't enjoy who the person that the author decided to follow. A good example of this would be, and God forgive me, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, don't hate me guys, seriously don't, but would be Twilight. I am, you know, Kristen Stewart is cute, don't get me wrong, she's absolutely adorable, but I hate Bella. I am not a fan of Bella by any stretch of the imagination. She's angsty and she can get really annoying, but I liked the story to a point. The whole sparkly vampire thing kind of set me off though, don't get me wrong, I'm a connoisseur of vampires, so the sparkly thing kind of threw me off, but the love story was nice, and it was interesting, and I was able to read it, but I read it for the story, and I'm one of those people that once I start a book or a series, I tend to follow it through. But the fact is that Stephanie Meyer was actually starting to write part of Edward's story, and I was very excited, and I was very upset when it turned out that she had gotten hacked and the book was released. I mean, she released it for everybody after that, but and I read it, and I have to say I was much more intrigued with Edward's side of the story. The Hunger Games would be another one. Now I'm very, very, very excited to see the movie. Trust me, I read the books in 1 week, and then I reread them within that same week, and I'm very excited for the Hunger Games. Anyway, you know, I loved reading about Katniss. Now, Katniss was a character that I could relate to. You know, I'm very much of a tomboy. I'm one of those people who I play video games, and I go out and I climb trees, and I actually own weapons. I know how to shoot a gun. You know, my father wanted to make sure I knew all that stuff. So I can very much relate to Katniss, but I have to say that I would really love it if Susan Collins were to go back and to write Peeta's perspective on these books. I mean, there are so many times where he's not even a part of it, but he's a huge part of the series, and yet he's not very much in it. And I would love it if she were to go back and actually write those stories in his perspective, because, like I said, there's a point in the third book where he is at the Capitol and he's being tortured at the Capitol, and I would love to know what he was thinking, you know, what he was doing, where he thought of things, or when, you know, in the first book where there were those moments where he decided to do something on his own without Katniss. I would really love to know those parts, and so I didn't want to keep my readers guessing. I wanted to give my readers a broader story than just Jane's, because it's not just Jane. Even though she is one of the biggest characters, she probably is the big character in the story, you know, there's also Reed and there's also Sean, and they both play very vital roles in this whole entire book, in the whole entire world. My book is based in the urban fantasy world. Urban fantasy is a tough thing to describe, because it's a mix of today's world with technology and fantasy all kind of jumbled up into one. There are vampires, and no, they don't sparkle. Ghouls, aliens from a different future. Of course, we have to have a god or two thrown into the mix. And what makes a good story but prophecy? If you can find me a good story that doesn't have a prophecy in it, well, okay, never mind. I know that there are stories out there that don't have prophecies in it, but prophecy always makes a good story, especially in these types. So my story basically takes place thousands of years in the past, where the gods created Earth, and they created these humans to be in their own image. Not just one god, several gods came together to do this. And they were so happy and so amazed at this creation, at these beings of theirs, that they decided that they wanted to show off the humans. They wanted to show all these other beings what they created. So what they did is they took the magic that they used to build Earth and the humans, and they shifted it and turned it so that it opened a doorway on the Earth. So all these other beings from all these other worlds, different timelines, different futures, you know, different dimensions, they could all just come together, and they could come in and enjoy this world that they created and revel in these humans that were made. Well, instead of Earth being this place of wonder and beauty, it became a stopping ground. In a single instant, Earth became Grand Central Station. Never before has any of these other worlds or other dimensions or timelines or anything, nothing has ever been linked before. So these beings of power decided that humans were given this amazing planet and they're wasting it. So they decided that they wanted control of it. And over thousands of years, wars have broken out and have basically broken out for control of what is now called the in-between. The power struggle in this story has just hit such a point that gods are now fighting and killing each other as a way to get control of this Earth, also known again as the in-between. And humans are kind of just in the middle, where we're basically just cannon fodder. So this is where the story takes place. It's been determined that mankind is only just going to be wiped off the face of the planet in just a few short years. Literally, just a few short years. The only person who can stop the gods has been lost in history. Jane, who is a technopath. Basically, she has the power over technology. She can understand machines, talk with them, reprogram them, the whole 9 yards. It's what a technopath is. She has been given the destiny to find this person who's been lost in history. And if she fails, if she can't find him, it's done. The world is over and mankind is gone. She has the help of a secret agency called Spook, which was created to basically protect the humans from all these other creatures of the in-between. Friends that she meets along the way of her destined path. Eric Miller, who actually becomes one of her best friends and is also a Spook agent. A 1,000-plus-year-old god named Sean Ferris. Not his real name, mind you. That actually is one of his fake names. And a half angel named Reed. So the first book basically takes place with Jane, who is trying to find out who killed her father. She has a note that was written by her father, but it was given to her after her father was murdered. And so she has been spending several years now trying to find out who murdered her father and who sent her the letter. And she feels that if she can find out who sent her the letter, she'll have a better understanding of who killed her father, or possibly even why, because she doesn't even know that. But what she doesn't know is that she's actually being followed by Spook, who is now trying to commandeer her into joining the agency. Again, she is a very powerful technopath, and they would like to have her amongst their ranks. So they have convinced her that they will give her the name of the man or woman who provided her the letter, as long as she will take 24 hours out of her day to come with them, well, in this case Eric, to go with Eric, and spend 24 hours traveling the world to show not only her what Spook can do for her, but to also show her what Spook can need, well, what Spook would need of her. And she agrees. She has no intention of taking it. She has no intention of taking the job or the offer, or no intention of taking the job offer. She literally just wants the name. So she agrees for the name. And the book basically gets to take Jane and the reader on an amazing adventure, because what I decided to do is I decided to actually pick abandoned places all over the world. So if you read it, if you decide to pick up the book, it becomes published, you decide to pick it up and read it, I would definitely Google the places, because you'd be very impressed. Some of the places are amazing. Anyway, so it follows Jane through all that. And on the side note, you actually get to follow Sean, and you get to follow Sean through his time through World War II, and then you get to move forward when he becomes a member of Spook, and then you even get to go a little bit more forward and how he gets his way into Fort Carroll. Again, very cool abandoned place. I would definitely Google it. So he goes, how he becomes part of the, a prisoner, how he becomes part of the prison at Fort Carroll, and then how the two of them interact, and how, I mean, it's a very interesting story. And at the end of it all, it does get very dark, so beware, it does get dark. But I had to say, I loved writing this book. In fact, I love writing this series. Like I said, I've written a bunch of other series before in my life. I've been writing since I was 10. I've written a bunch of series, and I have to say that this was probably the easiest one I've ever written. It took me less than 6 months to write it, and let me tell you, all the other ones have taken me a couple of years. So this one took me 6 months, and so yeah, I'm very excited. I'm excited to get this out there. So again, if you have any other questions, let me know. That is what my book is about. That's what the series is about, and I will be following up with you guys next week. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, bye.